Hello everybody, Crow here on Vilebranch, only found on titansleague.org. I hope you guys had a happy holidays. 2024 is beginning to kick off really interestingly. So, one of the things I decided to do was to go back and change professions one more time. Here's how it's going to work when it comes to item progression. You start out with item level 14 items. Will be given during the intro quest from ilvl Ashrath, or whatever his name is. He's the ethereal forger, and he forges you some really shitty item level 14 items. However, one of the first things you might do to start replacing these is to pick up a profession. With professions, materials can be gathered from all over the accessible map, with some of the more rarer items being in risk zones. Risk zones are an interesting mechanic here on Vilebranch, because in low risk zones, if you were to die to a player, then you would drop all of your items associated with that trade skill that you're gathering in that zone into a chest, and it might be gathered by other players later. As you enter more increasing risk zones, medium risk and high risk, you will begin losing other items like equipment from your bags, or even one or two items from your equipped slots. And so you only find the high risk zones, the really scummy ones where you actually lose items, in the end game essentially. Places like the Wild Island, where basically the materials drop to craft epic raid tier items. For now, let's not focus too much on that though. Let's look at the intro items. Any item you can craft from profession level 1 to 150 will be item level 17. No matter what. These are all items that have horizontal upgrades or change stat type. So, for instance, if you get the copper chain set, you'll notice that there's an emphasis on some stamina and strength, and it's kind of this generic stat allocation. But as you work your way through, you will notice things like runed copper gauntlets have intellect and stamina and strength on them, and becomes kind of this de facto caster hybrid set. Let's go over them. Copper chain pants. Copper mace. By the way, all the DPS on the weapons are pretty much standardized. The only variance is the stat and the weapon swing timer. As you can see here on the copper axe, axes have more attack power and critical strike rating. Copper chain boots here have an emphasis with a little bit of agility, more of that offensive scaling. Blacksmithing copper sword. You can create the grinding stone. Claymores, a two-handed big fuck-off axe, or sword rather. The two-handed big fuck-off sword with a bunch of strength and a little bit of stamina. Whereas a dagger has some attack power and melee critical strike rating. You have the battle axe here, which is all offense with a emphasis on agility. This is, for your armor and crit, etc. You have your strength, agility, stamina, and the copper chain belt. Again, the copper chain set being kind of this generic strength, agility, offensive stats, as Death Knights have a little bit of agility scaling, and Warriors are more stamina scaling with a strength secondary stat. So, Ruined Copper, here's stamina, strength, intellect. Those are mostly your Paladin stats, as Paladins have attack power that scales off of intellect, and their stamina, and their strength. You have your Sharpening Stones and Weight Stones. These increase your damage of your weapon. They're pretty useful. You have your Heavy Copper Maw. As you can see here, the big two-handed maces have more of a defensive focus with a larger amount of stamina than strength. Ruined copper belt. Thick war axe, again, the offensive focus with the agility and the strength. Coarse grinding stones as you go up a tier. Again, the ruined copper set with stamina and intellect. Heavy copper broadsword. Some strength and agility with some melee hit rating. Again, most characteristically more characteristically of a slower sword, is the large amount of strength and perhaps hit chance. Rough bronze boots. Some strength, some stamina, and some crit. For the rough bronze set, I was thinking a heavier offensive focus than defensive focus. And so your rough bronze items are de facto DPS items. Big dick DPS. Thick bronze darts is a normalized ranged attack damage with just a little bit of strength. Your big bronze knife is a dagger with stamina on it. Rough bronze set here with, again, strength and critical strike rating. Heavy amounts of strength. Your bronze mace is one of the first caster weapons in the blacksmithing skill. Pearl-handled dagger, agility and stamina, traditional dagger. Pretty sought after stats for rogues, for instance. Rough bronze shoulders. This is just 5 stamina. No big deal. Bronze axe, again, the agility focus with the strength on it. Just a little different from your other one-handed axe. And if I do miss one, I'll go back and re-itemize it to have different stats on it. Bronze short sword. We have some strength here and some stamina there. Patterned bronze bracers are a different kind of caster mail item. They have strength and intellect with a little bit of spell power. These ones have a more offensive focus, rather than being stat heavy. Bronze warhammer is a two-handed mace with intellect and spell power on it. You have your heavy grinding and heavyweight stones. Bronze greatsword here has a bunch of stamina with some strength and parry rating. It's one of the defensive, a tank two-hander essentially, but generically is still fine because parry haste and all. Heavy bronze mace. This has some agility on it for a one-hander. Not bad. Silver bronze boots. The silver bronze set is a caster set. It's got some intellect and critical strike rating on it. Bronze battle axe has agility, intellect, and spirit. It's pretty obvious that this is kind of for your hunter or shaman class, as they have attack power from spirit and intellect and agility ratios, so that's taken into account. Silvered bronze gauntlets has stamina, intellect, and spell power. And of course your golden rod for enchanters. Green iron bracers should not be in here. I'll have to remove that, as the green iron set is considered eye level 20 and comes from recipes, which I'll show you in a minute. Iron buckle for other professions, and maybe something else in blacksmithing later down the line. I'm not sure if I'll keep it right now, but socket bracer and socket gloves are some things I'm considering as well for blacksmithing. Now, comes the interesting part here. The apprentice armor will sell you recipes if you have the required amount of reputation and have the stamps to purchase them. These stamps range from exalted all the way down to friendly, as some are meant to be learned early on. As you go through the introductory quest, you will be able to be made friendly with your local faction. This is the Hexbreakers for the Horde, and I believe the Iron Hammer Brigade for the Alliance. And you buy the Minor Craftsman stamps here, and you can learn something like the Ruined Copper Breastplate, an item level 17 item, like any of the one